Day 32. As I race out of the house, jump into the car, throw all of my work supplies, meals, supplements, gym bag, and everything else that I'm gonna need during the day. I am panicking because I am just on the cusp of being late for work. That has been an everyday thing. Of course, it's gotten worse as the days and weeks have gone by, as more and more time is being required to finish this 8-week program. Thankfully, I'm able to sit in the car and drive to work with the flow of traffic and reflect on the last day, the last workout, lessons learned, and anything that could be of value to someone else that's going through this program. So last night was day 31. Let me think about that. 29 Monday, 30 Tuesday, 31. Excuse me. Day 31. And I know I hit up day 31 previously and use it as an active rest day. But 31 for me falls actually on a Friday. 32 falls on a Friday. 31 for me fell on Thursday. Not to confuse anybody, but that's what happens when you're racing. So instead of taking an active rest day on Saturday, I thought that I would take Wednesday as an active rest day, which would in fact been day 31. So I do apologize for any confusion. So I guess day 32 is the appropriate number, even though if you look at the plan, day 31 is actually arms, and day 32, well, that'll happen tonight. Anywho, day 31, day 32, it was arms. And let me tell you, that was a long session. 6 different exercises, pounding both the biceps and triceps, supersets. And you think because it was only 6 exercises that it wouldn't take that long. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. For me, it took nearly 2 hours to complete the workout. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why in the world would it take 2 hours for 6 exercises? Well, that's a very good question. And it probably would have taken a little less had I not had to fight for dumbbells and different exercise machine. I think last night I spent more time waiting, trying to get my hands on, one of the easy bars for curls or skull crushers. I'm then fighting for one of the 10, 15, 20 pound dumbbells that I was going to do for curls, or depending on the lat pull down, I was going to do something for triceps. And a couple of exercises I just had to work out with someone, and we were just changing out different bars and taking turns borrowing the easy bar and the dumbbells. And even still, it took quite a long time to get through the program. Now, what else happened? Let's see. Besides the fact that I was exhausted, let's just start there. It didn't take long to really burn out my arm muscles. It was a lot of work. And I also chose, there wasn't a lot of options, especially at the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 range, to really pick anything that was in between 2 exercises. So rather 2 weights. So when I was trying to increase the weight, I ended up having to do a lot of rest pauses to meet my minimum numbers. So for example, I might start off with a 15 pounds to do 30 hammer curls. Well, because that was the last bicep exercise of the night and I completely blasted my biceps 2 other times, they were tired. And I think on the way up, I chose a weight that was similar to the weight that I would have chosen or did choose for the other exercises. But taking in consideration, going up was really hard. Meaning, let's say I used, let's say I used 15 pounds dumbbell for a hammer curl 30 times going up, right? Rest pause was my saving grace on that. But I got smart on the way back down because I realized that by the time I went up 30, 15, 20, 25 was the weight. I realized that on the way back down, instead of going exactly the same way down because my arms were tired, I ended up just reducing the weight to get through. And thankfully, I didn't have to do as many rest pauses. But I learned the lesson the hard way. So, needless to say, arm day was wow. I think I almost hated arm day, which I usually love. And I think I fell in love with leg day more than I loved arms. Man, it was tough. But I was so glad when it was over, right? I was like, there was a level of an accomplishment knowing that I got in, got it done, even though it took a while. And then I came home and finished the night with my second set of cardio. 40 minutes worth. So while I was doing cardio, one of my friends from back home in Washington State, who is also a part of the Team Caged Muscle group on Facebook, Amber Ely. Surprisingly, now granted, I want to say she was actually my sister's friend, and I think we went to the same church and maybe even the same school for a moment. But either way, I knew that she was definitely into health, and when I was in the group, she recognized that I was in there, and she reached out to me, and she saw that I was doing the hardcore trainer, and she introduced me to her boyfriend, and they're going to be doing it. And so I'm super excited to have someone I know in the group. But last night when I was doing cardio, she sent me a message, and she said there are some really great tips that I captured the first time that I did, or one of the times that she did the hardcore trainer. And I'm going to read those to you or share some of those with you. And I'll have to do that when I'm not driving. But I'll share a couple because I think that some of them were right on point. And I think the one that definitely comes to mind first and foremost, I'll read it to you because I think I don't want to do it any injustice by trying to remember and recall. But one of the things that really stood out for me, and this is one of the lessons that I'm learning, because one of the two questions that I asked last night when I was on the Team Cage Muscle Facebook group was, number one, how in the world are you guys getting your protein, getting your macros every single day? Right? That was the first question, because I'm still struggling to get that. One, because I'm eating frozen chicken, and what bothers me more than anything is that I'll buy a 10-pound bag of frozen chicken thinking I'm getting a really good deal, and then when you finally start cooking it, you don't have what you thought you were going to have after it shrank. So I even compensated for, let's say, for example, I need to eat, let's say, around 40 grams of protein for every meal to make my macros. And I'm putting in 2.5 pounds of chicken before I cook it now. And then once I cook it, I got like a pound and a half. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? So definitely wasn't happy with that. But last night I decided to buy some some real chicken, which was not frozen, and it seemed like it was a little bit more expensive, but I cooked it, and I found out, of course, that I think it did a much better job. I had way more chicken left over. Yeah, there was a little shrinkage as far as weight-wise, but it was nowhere near as bad as the frozen chicken. But anyway, look, I'm gonna jump off for a moment. I got to get ready to get into work, but I will check in a little bit and try to give you some of those tips that Amber gave me, and finish off a couple other thoughts for day 31, arm day 32, whatever. But I'll be back shortly. All right, so I'm back. Let's see here. It is it's about 3:29 p.m. and I'm taking a few minute break as I get ready to head home for the day. But I wanted to come back and I wanted to share a few of these pointers that Amber shared with me from her own experience. And there are 10 points. Now, as I kind of skim through, there's some that make sense for me, and then there are some that not so much. But I'll share some of the ones that she wrote down here. And she says, essentially this was something that she had put together after she completed the program, which is, for me, the hardcore trainer. And so she's sharing a few things. Number one, get your house as clean as possible now. Now, this is probably under the assumption that before you get started in the program, these are some things to consider. Number one, get your house as clean as possible now, because at the end, when you're spending 3 hours a day working out, chores fall to the bottom of the list. And so right now, you probably have heard me say a couple of times, it's like right now it's 40 minutes twice a day. So that's, it's getting close to an hour. And then the weight training, yesterday was over an hour for sure. So I could see where by the end, I know by week 8, I know that the cardio is now 55 minutes long, right? So obviously I understand, get your house clean as possible, because right now you're going to be spending a lot of time in the gym. She says, get some quality dry shampoo. Those two a day workouts do a number on your hair. For me, I don't have a big issue with that. I just, I get my hair wet all the time for sure. Wash it every couple days, but nothing too bad. She says, number 3, you'll probably need 2 sets of towels. I tried using just one, but with the workouts twice a day, every day, they never seem to get dry. Now, I can attest to that because, I'm taking a shower in the morning, after I do my morning cardio. Then I go to work, and then hopefully by the time I get home at night, the towel is dry. But I've been noticing that that's not always the case, that there's still some level of dampness to it. So I think that's, definitely a consideration if you're going to do that. Number 4, make sure you have a lot of workout gear. Again, 2 a day workouts can't seem to do laundry often enough to keep up. I totally understand it. Now, this is me. Don't judge me, okay? I don't wash them that much. I wash them after a couple of wear-ins. Now, granted, when I do cardio, I almost always do them at home, and it's either going to be extremely early in the morning or it's going to be one of the last things I do before bed. And in many cases, I can wear my boxers, no t-shirt. I'm just I strip down to the bare essentials. And at the very worst, if I need to throw on some older shorts or something, I'm completely fine with that. I have been sweating a lot during that period. So a lot of times I've noticed, like, if I'm wearing underoos or my boxer shorts or what have you, they tend to be very much wet by the time I'm done, right? So for that, I can understand, you're going to need to definitely have some clothes. Now, usually when I'm doing weight training, I do some sweating, but I don't think it's been enough that I've had to change my shirt or my shorts every single day. But usually after a couple of workouts, I can understand. Now, if I was doing cardio and weight training twice a day, then I completely would agree with her on that, because my stuff would be so wet and it would probably stink very quickly. Number 5, stock up on laundry detergent. See number 4, which is you're going to need a lot of workout gear. Number 6, download shows to binge watch or audiobooks to listen to. At the end, you're spending nearly 2 hours a day doing cardio, and it helps to pass the time more quickly. I would watch the next day's trainer video during my PM workout to help me mentally prepare. And I do that as well. Sometimes I'll watch it the night before. Now, for me, I've already watched these things a couple of times trying to get ready. But I do understand watching the video the night before. I also watch the video on my way to the gym just to make sure I don't forget some of the nuances of the workout. Because sometimes you'll see something on the video that's different than what you'll see in the app. There might be number changes, and there may even be the way he's doing the workout in the video is different than maybe what you think it is by just the name. So I watch it and totally agree. I'm doing a lot of catching up on a lot of shows. I think during this particular transformation, I've been watching So You Think You Can Dance. I've been watching Master Chef Junior quite a bit. And then typically if there's a show, I think I watched Mindhunter, the whole season of Mindhunter during this. What else? And that was like, I think season 2 of Mindhunter. So yeah, I completely agree. This is a time when you can definitely catch up on some of those. Sometimes I don't really feel like watching anything, and I'll just listen to music. But it is a considerable amount of time out of your day. So if you can be, functional and efficient and productive with your time, this is a good time to get some of that stuff done. Let's see. Number 7, meal prep is key, especially at the end when you don't have the time or energy to cook multiple times a day or even every day. Let me tell you something. This right here, and I was talking about it earlier when I said there was a major point. That was one of them. Meal prep. I do have and have had some help, at home, where there's someone who is willing to, assist in cooking some of the food. But even with that, there's still time. You got to make sure you're washing your dishes from the day. You got to make sure you restock your supplements, because what I'll do is I'll take my supplements in smaller plastic containers so that I have them available when I'm going to the gym. I don't want to take the whole ginormous bucket of protein and re-cage and pre-cage and in-cage and, all of my supplements. I just kind of put them in little packages. So meal prep is key. And what I've also found, so I've been trying to essentially do a meal prep every day, right? Like usually in the morning or last thing at night. But I'm running out of time, and I've been looking for strategies on how I can, cook food faster, find better sources of protein, which is another one I talked about this morning. And I've come to the conclusion that it just makes sense that cooking a couple of days in advance is the right answer. Now, I haven't done it yet, but I can see that this is the right answer for things, right? Cook the meat, put it in freezer bags, plastic containers, whatever, and just have your food ready and prepared so that when it's time to go, you're not spending all this time doing it on the fly because I don't have a lot of time. And I think the time I do have, I'm rushing, and I still have another, 3 weeks after this one. So it'll be 45 minutes next week, 50 minutes the week after, and then 55 minutes week after that. And that's twice a day. So if I don't have time now on week 5, I'm going to have even less time as the weeks continue to go by. So this is just, I totally agree. This is probably one of the big ones for me. So this weekend, my intention is to take this weekend to relax as much as possible, and then start preparing both my clothes. So really just put all my clothes out, get them ironed, get them hung up, get them ready to go. And so all I got to do is go, and then start doing some food preparations in advance. What can I freeze? What can I pre-cook? What can I prepare? Rice doesn't do well with that. Obviously eggs don't do well with that, but chicken, I'm sure I could pre-cook. Usually I do vegetables that are fresh. So at the worst, it's just cutting up a few pieces of broccoli or whatnot. So outside of that, that would be something I totally agree with. Number 8, she says, tell your friends and family that you've committed to this program and you'll see them in March. In this case, when she probably first did it, with a hot new body, and you won't have time or any free time or energy. And that is something I also agree with, because I had to say that to the people close to me, to let them know that this was going to take a lot of time that we would normally have been spending together, and energy, which means when I'm coming home from the gym, I'm exhausted. I just want to go lay down. I don't have a lot of energy to do a lot of talking. So that's another good one. Number 9, there are going to be days and times and moments that you're going to want to give up, or give yourself a pass. Too tired, rough day, period. Don't. Suck it up. Put one foot in front of the other and just get through it. Trust me, at the end, you'll be glad you did. It's only 8 weeks, 2 months. That's not much time. You can do anything for 2 months. So thankfully, I really haven't had a lot of those challenging times. I've had challenging times where I was tired. I've had a couple of times where I was, I didn't feel like doing cardio because I was so tired. But I've enjoyed this process so far, and I'm enjoying the transformation. And so I think I just feel really inspired and excited about pressing on. I think that if I wasn't seeing a lot of results, I probably would feel a little at some time. But I completely agree. Just do what you got to do, stick it out, figure out how you're going to get it done, and see where you are in 2 months. And then you can reevaluate. And then number 10, if you don't push yourself out of your comfort zone beyond what you've done before, how will you ever know what you're truly capable of? You can do this if you commit to it. It's tough. Don't give up. Keep going. Completely agree. And that's my thought process right now too. There are so many people that have done this program before. There are people who are doing it now, and there will be people who will do it after I'm done. And I think, for one, if I can do this, if I can lose the weight, if I can transform my body, and I can, eat the way I'm supposed to eat, or whatever the case may be, then other people can too, right? Because I've tried to do things on my own and it didn't work out. I've been there before. So, if I can do this, you can do this. And another thing too, I've shared this thing with a number of people, when they ask questions like, hey, what are you doing? I'm giving them the address. I'm saying, go to cagedmuscle.com. Here's the program I'm doing. And then they look at it and they'll say different things like, oh my gosh, that's too much. Or, oh my gosh, I can never eat like that. Or, oh my gosh, I don't have the fortitude to really continue to do something like that. And at the end of the day, I don't really know what else to say, because it's like, well, I don't know what other program to share with you, because it's gonna take some dedication on your part to do what you have to do to get it done, and it's not gonna happen overnight, and it's not gonna be free. So if you really want to change, then this is one answer. Now, there's Maybe you have something else. Maybe the keto diet is the right diet. Maybe, you know, some other diet is the right diet. I don't know. But I think that for me, and based on what I've seen before, Kris's programs work. If you work it, and if you stay true to the program, I think that the 8-week program is definitely gotten better. More variety of workouts, definitely very intense. I love the new food calculator because it makes sure that you're eating the right foods, enough of the right foods, and not overeating on things. Because the 12-week program, even though I was losing weight, it wasn't very scientific. I wasn't counting carbs the way I am now. I wasn't counting calories. All I was doing was just putting some meat on a plate, putting some carbs on a plate, and putting some vegetables on a plate, and calling it a day, but not really adjusting in sort of a scientific way that we're doing today with the 8-week program. So anyway, I think that was what I wanted to share with you right now. It is definitely be coming to the end of this afternoon. Tonight, I know we have, it looks like some hamstrings. It looks like lower back. And what else is on our agenda for today? Lower back, and then probably abs, upper abs, I think is what I saw earlier. So that's on the agenda for tonight. I'll probably check back in later once that's over. But I just wanted to jump in and finish that little tip that I got from Amber. So Amber, to you directly, thank you very much for sharing that with me. And thank you for allowing me to share that with others. I think that there's some really valuable nuggets in there that we can use. All right, so I will be back later.